first of all, can you give us a sense of what's happening at your schools?
Yeah, certainly. So we were informed mid-June that we had RAC that was considered to be needing critical action in two of our schools, so two primary schools, one single form entry and a double form entry primary. So we were basically told on one day, and then we had to close immediately. So one school closed on the Thursday and one school closed on the Friday.
And where are the children now?
Well, luckily one of the good things about being in a large trust is we kind of reached out to our family of schools, and we looked for where we could accommodate the children that was close enough to be able to transport them easily. So obviously at this time of year, Year 11, Year 13 have gone after their exams, so two of the high schools took several classes between them, and we housed some other children in a primary school that had room. We've also had to use a local community centre. So both schools are using a mixture of their own sites and then up to two other sites to house those children.
How long is it going to take to sort out those two schools, and how much is it going to cost?
Right. Well, the good news was, I think when we got over the initial shock that we had to close them, one of the first things is you don't really know what's going to happen in the future. So we were thinking about this is going to take months to sort out. But I have to say the engineering company and the building companies that have helped us have been incredible. So actually, the schools have been propped over the last couple of weeks, and one school will be reopening on Monday and the other one probably a couple of weeks after that. So it didn't take as long as we thought. So the children will probably be off-site for between 2 and 4 weeks, but then they'll be back into their buildings.
And did you have enough wriggle room in your budget to afford this?
Well, we're a big trust, so yes, we could kind of draw down the money that we needed. But you're right, the numbers are scary. I think the last time I looked, we're north of about 170,000 at the moment on just the remedial work to get the schools open again. But that's only the medium-term plan. Obviously, propping can't stay in place, for the next 30 years. We will have to look at a longer-term solution.
Kevin, how worried are you about the state of our schools, and how worried should we all be?
Well, the union's worried, but the National Audit Office, this independent report today, that's very worrying. You've just heard two horrible stories. The story about concrete falling on a parent as she picks her child up, and then the disruption to school life. It's a very worrying situation. I'm really pleased to be on your radio program this morning, but I bet you've tried to get a schools minister and they're not appearing. And it worries me that I think they're turning a blind eye to the state of our school buildings, just like they're turning a blind eye to the state of teacher shortages in our schools at the moment. But it's worrying on this concrete situation, this RAC, the reinforced autoclaved aerated concrete, which wasn't a bad building material at the end of the Second World War, but because it got the schools built after the bombing, but people knew it had a design life of 30 years. And we just haven't prepared. The government hasn't prepared, and we're not repairing schools fast enough. There's also asbestos in 13,000 school buildings, not schools, but individual blocks in schools. And the NAO's reporting that 3,500 of those are worryingly out of control, that we're not managing the asbestos properly in those. There are all sorts of maintenance problems in schools. There are schools, if you look online, you can see, and members are telling us, leaks through the roof that's disrupting their teaching when it's raining. Schools that are far too hot. Sometimes you have to abandon teaching in a heat wave because it's too hot. We need far more investment in our schools estate.
What are your teachers saying to you about all of this?
Well, they're saying that they think the government isn't doing a good enough job, that it's not investing in education. And they worry that the government sees education as a cost, not as an investment in the future of the country, which is how they should be seeing it. So, it feels to, I think our members, they feel that government is ignoring the needs of schools, both in terms of, the day-to-day spending, So a teacher's reporting, for example, I was talking to an A-level teacher last week who told me, we had a lobby of Parliament about these sorts of issues, that her entire spend for her kids for a whole year was 90p per child. I said, you mean per week? And she said, no, I mean per year. So there's teachers feel that they don't have the resources to help with children in the classroom. They think they're being ignored about the teacher shortages, and they think they're being ignored about the state of school buildings. And there are hard-working head teachers like, is it Anita that you've just been speaking to, who are working their way round all of these problems. But people feel that the government needs to step up. And I don't know, have you got a minister on? Are they coming out to speak about this? My understanding is they're not, but...
No, we do not have anyone from the government coming on. We've got a statement from them, which I'll read out shortly. But I understand your frustration, Kevin. Thanks very much. That's Kevin Courtney, General Secretary of the National Education Union, and also speaking to Anita Bath, CEO of Bishop Buick Catholic Education Trust. So that statement from a Department for Education spokesperson. They say they're significantly investing in transforming schools up and down the country. They say they're investing in 500 projects for new and refurbished school buildings and have additionally allocated £1.8 billion for this year to keep schools safe and operational. A couple of texts here about this.